Tonight on Chronicle, in the dead of darkness, a giant insect invades a peaceful seacoast town.
They've got all these great angles. Their body shape almost looks like metal armor as it is.
How overnight art is taking Portsmouth by surprise.
What we really wanted to do was highlight the incredible talent that exists in the seacoast and spark conversations about art and public art and what that can mean to a city.
It's the Brookline Sculpture Park where nature meets artistic nurture.
The artist gets a stipend, the institute gets the sculpture, and the public gets it free. That's the idea of getting art back into society.
Hiking the trails of the Andres Institute of Art. Plus, Fritz Weatherby's New Hampshire.
How did Keene State College become Keene State College? I'll tell you the story on New Hampshire Chronicle.
That's next on Chronicle.
So, what's an English country garden without some exotic animals, right?
Peacocks and koi from Asia, goats from Africa, iguanas from South America, Highland cattle from Europe.
Well, these are some of the wild sights at Tarbin Gardens in Franklin. Kids from 2 to 92 love to visit the family of Highland cattle or feed the fish in the ponds.
And there is a new resident in the barnyard. Jenny the Hinny is a rare cross between a female donkey and a male pony.
Jenny has the donkey cross on her back and a flowing ponytail, and she loves apples. Bring her one and she might surprise you.
And speaking of surprises, imagine walking downtown to get your morning coffee and running into a 7-foot ant, or driving over the Memorial Bridge and seeing a glowing bench over in Prescott Park. And well, in Portsmouth, this overnight art is really popping up all over town.
The Imagination Explosion is the brainchild of Art2.m4v, part of the city's Cultural Commission.
Since day one, the pieces have been raising eyebrows and generating lots of conversation. And tonight, Jennifer Crompton gets in on the gab.
It arrived in the dead of night, as if poised to strike some unsuspecting passerby, but this giant red ant doesn't bug anybody. In fact, it seems absolutely welcome in downtown Portsmouth.
Originally, I wanted it to be about 7 stories tall, but I knew I didn't quite have the time frame to get that done. So, 7 feet was kind of the benchmark.
Artist Nathan Walker took the city's Cultural Commission at its word when Art2.m4v put only one restriction on submissions for its public art contest, that they be able to last the summer.
And insects are perfect for doing this kind of work with. They've got all these great angles. Their body shape almost looks like metal armor as it is. So I figured metal sculpture, giant ant, it just made sense to me.
This bug was born in a scrap metal pile with a motorcycle gas tank for a head and old propane tanks from the backyard barbecue for the thorax. Only the legs came from the hardware store.
The giant ant was the first project we agreed on as a jury to fund because we thought this was the most surprising piece of public art that we could, and perfectly suited for Market Square, which is just this very unexpected giant red ant that would appear in the square. We thought that would be really wonderful, and it has been incredibly well received.
History in liquid motion sprang to life in a small park near the Memorial Bridge, one of 6 pieces to appear over a 2-week period in May. Each artist, like Jeannie Givens, was given a small budget, the money raised through individual and corporate donations with help from the New Hampshire Council on the Arts.
We were really excited to see what she would do as a public art project because she's a very well-known and very well-respected local welder. And she used found metal pieces to create, and a solar power panel to create a fountain that would be a working fountain.
This right here is a mine mooring ball.
Mine mooring ball?
Yeah, they used to mark the mines for the submarines when they would be coming into port. So this had its home in the river for years and years and years, and then it was given to me by a friend. This is just something that most likely came out of the Bath Iron Works up in Bath, Maine, where they build ships, but I got it out of the Port Authority scrap metal yard. So, it's just been sitting around for years waiting to be made into something.
Jason Probert's something sits in Prescott Park.
This is called the Umwelt Bench number 5. It's in a series of benches that he's created, and it's made of wood and concrete and lucite panels. And the really interesting thing about this is that the lucite panels are also solar powered, and it's lit up at night. The High Hanover Garage features a piece called Dialogue by Susan Schwacke, and it is basically 2 banners that go just near the entrance of the garage, and it covers up what would be just a very simple gray slab of cement, and it also includes a decal of a bird on the window to the side. It's just really meant to give people pause as they consider, as they go in to park their cars, where public art can appear, and kind of give them a little bit of whimsy to start their day. The Bookmarks for the Big Reader is at the Portsmouth Public Library. It's done by Roger Goldenberg, and it's essentially a take on Tibetan prayer flags, which hang down from metal poles, and he set up a series of metal poles with these hanging, what he then called bookmarks. So they're just very colorful flags that he refers to as bookmarks.
Artist Jamie Calderwood's wooden sculpture appears in an alley off Congress Street.
The inside-out sculpture is made of cedar, and it's got saplings on the inside, and it's basically sort of his take on how the landscape, if you consider sort of the landscape being contained within this cedar box, and you can look through the window and there's a mirror there so you can see yourself reflected in the landscape, and that also is solar powered, so at night you can also see it lit up on the inside. What we really wanted to do was highlight the incredible talent that exists in the Seacoast and spark conversations about art and public art and what that can mean to a city. And so really we were thinking of the community at large when we put this project together, and I think a wonderful benefit is that there will be thousands of tourists that come in that then get to experience it and enjoy it as well.
The effort celebrates public art and the passage of Portsmouth's Percent for Public Art ordinance, and it's already pulling the community together. Locals rallied to help Nathan raise money for repairs, because just a week after it went up, someone climbed on the giant ant and tore its head off.
So the metal actually tore around the weld and was kind of dangling there overnight, and the police removed it, and it was in custody. It was in the evidence room for about a week, and then I finally got it back.
He did a lot of extra welding to reinforce things and added ant hairs to its back.
Nobody's going to ride this ant now, huh?
No, not for very long anyways. And these are actually railroad spikes that are recycled.
Wow.
But they've, sanded down so they aren't going to cause too much pain.
It's stimulating, it's inspiring, it makes you, consider a building or an area differently than you would have before. And I think what we've tried to achieve with this project is just to show people that it can be a gigantic ant in Market Square, and it can be a bench, which is very functional. That's very functional public art. And I think that was sort of part of our role, was to just kind of give people a sense of all the different ways public art can enliven a space.
Coming up, Keene gets a normal school.
Coming up next.
It's really the Dickens to fluff, but kids really love it.